Alright, bet. First, let's knock out Elden Ring. See, IGN got this Elden Ring video that kind of explains, I guess, how Nightreign works. Let's see what they're talking about.
One of the biggest questions left over after Elden Ring Nightreign's network test back in February was, how will the world of Limveld change in the real game? After all, Nightreign is, for all intents and purposes, a roguelite, and one of the core elements of any roguelite is a degree of randomness or procedural generation that ensures that every run feels just a little bit different. Nightreign has that in the loot department, with every run giving you different rewards and forcing you to cobble together a build based on what you're able to find within that run, and also in the enemy and boss department, since none of the boss encounters are static, with the sole exception of the Nightlord battle on day 3. But as far as the world of Limveld, we never really got a chance to see how it changes from run to run during the network test. During my 2 days of playtime at FromSoft's office and over the course of about 10 full runs, I got my answer to that earlier question. Here's how Limveld will change from run to run in Elden Ring Nightreign.
Playtest, so I don't know.
Actually, we jumped the gun. Before we go into the ways that Limveld will change, let's quickly establish what doesn't change. The overall structure of Limveld will not change. The shape of the island, the major geographical features, the positioning of cliffs, rivers, and lakes, all of these will be the same, barring a few major exceptions that we'll cover in just a bit. The locations of Sites of Grace, Everjails, the launching Spirit Springs, cave entrances and exits, the spectral trees and the wind currents, all of these are static and do not change location from run to run. There's also a giant castle that features exceptionally tough battles and big rewards right smack in the middle of the map that will never change. Everything else, from the locations of all the rest of the points of interest, the types of rewards offered at those points of interest, to the wandering mini-bosses and the bosses that you fight at the end of day 1 and day 2 are left completely up to chance. That said, there are 2 other huge factors that can completely alter a run. The first are world events known as Shifting Earth.
That looks like me.
Occasionally, before you even launch into a level, you'll be made aware that there is a Shifting Earth modifier in effect. In our playtime, the one we encountered was Crater, which transformed the northern section of the map, placing a giant crater in the middle and rivers of lava all around it. The enemies around and inside the crater are no joke, and wiped the floor with us when we first attempted to even get close enough to investigate the crater on the first day. But investigate it you should, and you should do so as soon as the second day begins, if you're up to the challenge. Exploring the crater took us pretty much the entirety of the second day, but when we did eventually make it all the way to the bottom, we beat a boss that granted us an epic rarity level reward by itself, but then also the unique reward of being able to take any weapon in our arsenal and upgrade it to the maximum level for free.
That's nice.
It's a risky endeavor because in order to escape the crater, you need to use a bunch of spectral trees and ride the hawks from platform to platform as you try to escape, which will certainly lead to nail-biting escape sequences when you take too long in the crater and now must race against the clock to get out while the circle closes in around you. The other big way that runs can change are through the appearances of certain events that seem to occur completely randomly and can throw a huge wrench into an otherwise routine run. I've seen only a couple of these, and some might be familiar with the Margit invasion from the network test, in which Margit the Fell will just all of a sudden jump into your game and just mercilessly hunt your squad down wherever they are. But a new one that I encountered involved the appearance of a swirling tornado-like phenomenon in the sky. When our squad approached it, we were suddenly attacked by a very tough group of AI-controlled Nightfarers who seemingly invaded us from another world. Like typical NPC invasions in Elden Ring, these enemies were smarter and hit a lot harder than typical enemies, making it another big risk-reward consideration to explore the areas near one of these ominous swirling tornadoes in the sky. The most impactful of all these random events, though, was the appearance of a mysterious boss that would attack from miles away.
We're gonna be on this, chat. We're gonna be on this.
That's right, get hit even just once by these telegraph mortar strikes, and you lose a level. It's not even limited to just losing one. Get hit again, he'll take another level from you. The only way to get those levels back is to find and kill the boss by following the bugs to his hiding spot. Unfortunately, I don't have footage of this, nor do I know what the reward is for killing him, because by the time we found the boss by following the bugs, the circle had started encroaching, and we just wouldn't have been able to kill him before the circle killed us. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty soul crushing to have to just give up on those levels that he stole from us, and it really kind of doomed our run from day one.
Yeah, that sucks. That's gonna piss me off. I'm not gonna lie.
And more that we see in the
that's gonna be having people raging.
It's worth mentioning as well that if you don't like the shifting earth modifier that will affect the world, you can use the bed in the round table hold to sleep to either remove the modifier or have it replaced by something else. As devastating as some of these modifiers can be, I'm nonetheless eagerly anticipate seeing more of them. They inject a healthy level of chaos into what otherwise might start to feel very routine, and led to some great emergent moments with high emotion between me and my squad mates as we raced to escape the crater, or panicked at an unexpected ambush, or felt true despair as we realized the levels that were stolen from us were gone forever. Moments like these are the heart of any good roguelite, and hopefully Nightreign is able to keep them coming at a steady pace. For more of our exclusive IGN First coverage of Elden Ring Nightreign, don't miss our hands-on videos with the Iron Eye and Raider classes. And for everything else in the world of video games,
should we watch that?
Keep it here.
And they're not that long. They're not that long, why not?
One of the great things about Elden Ring has always been the diversity of playstyles that it enables. And one of my favorite playstyles is loading up on strength, grabbing the largest weapon I can find, and crushing foes with posture-breaking jumping attacks and charged-up heavy strikes. If that's you too, then allow me to introduce you to the Raider in Nightreign. While the Guardian, the other big burly class with lots of health and affinity for big weapons, is more focused on defense with a shield as a starter weapon and an ultimate ability that can mitigate damage for the entire party for an extended period of time.
Spider.
The Raider is designed as an absolute offensive powerhouse. The most important ability of the Raider is Retaliate, which initially might not seem like a very strong skill on its own. After all, it's just 2 stomps that deal a bit of physical and poise damage. But the real magic is that thanks to the Raider's passive, he cannot be knocked down while doing Retaliate. This means that the Raider basically has a free damage soaking technique that will let you totally armor through pretty much any enemy or boss attack, with the added bonus of that weak second stomp getting replaced by an extremely powerful punch that will stagger even the largest enemies, if you manage to absorb an attack that would have done a substantial amount of damage. Then there's the Raider's ultimate, Totem Stella, which has him slamming the ground and causing a large totem to erupt, dealing big damage to anything around it. Like all the other ultimates in Nightreign, this is an incredibly powerful technique that can alter the tide of a fight. Not only does it deal big damage, but the totem is climbable, giving both you and your teammates either a safe place to lay low or a vantage point to attack from. In addition to that, it also gives everyone a damage buff as well, meaning it's one of the first ults you'll want to coordinate using so that the rest of the team can benefit from it. The Raider starts with the Raider's Great Axe, which is a pretty solid starting weapon that deals some fire damage and has the Endure skill affixed to it, which basically gives you another way to absorb and power through enemy attacks in case Retaliate is on cooldown. Still, you'll definitely want to find a better weapon as the nights get closer, and large strength scaling weapons are definitely the Raider's go-to style of weapon. Of all the classes I played in Nightreign, the Raider is definitely the one that I had the most fun with. It's the one that is most well suited for one-on-one battles, which is appropriate because its remembrances, we'll talk about those later on in the month, have you fighting in one-on-one boss fights in a sort of gladiatorial arena, which is a nice change of pace.
That's interesting.
For more hands-on impressions of the most recently revealed classes in Nightreign, make sure to check out our video covering the Iron Eye class. And keep an eye out on this space for more as Meezy.
Alright, let's check out Iron Eye. I've been curious about Iron Eye.
While the bow has always been a powerful weapon in Elden Ring, generally it's meant as a support weapon, something you use to pull aggro, or to weaken an enemy from afar before switching to your main weapon once they get into range, or to cause that one bird to fall to its death and farm its runes over and over and over again.
I did that a lot.
But when you're playing as the Iron Eye in Nightreign, the bow is the heart and soul of the class, which results in a playstyle that's very much unlike any of the other 8 Nightfarers in Nightreign, and one that is probably the closest thing to a support class that Nightreign offers.
That was cool.
The first thing that I noticed
Jumping
while
off the
playing
wall,
with the
shooting
Iron
the arrow,
Eye
that
is
was
that
tough.
they are a very squishy class. They can, of course, use any weapon they pick up, but the main reason why you'll want to always have a bow handy is mainly so that you can stay out of the fray and not have to worry about taking hits, because it doesn't take many to put you down, especially early on. Fortunately, your starting bow is pretty solid. It does decent damage and has Mighty Shot as its skill, which lets you attack from super far away, deal extra damage, and also deal some extra poise damage as well. It's also worth mentioning that the way bows work has largely been reworked in Nightreign. For one, they fire much faster, and you're able to move much quicker while shooting at a locked-on enemy. You also, thankfully, don't need a supply of arrows anymore. This does mean that you're stuck with whatever arrow type your weapon comes with, but it's definitely nice to not have to worry about how many arrows you have left, or potentially
So you
running
can have a
out
sword
of arrows
too.
in a boss fight. As for other neat new touches, there's a new animation for when you shoot an arrow out of a roll. You're able to do
Oh, that's
cool
hard.
acrobatic stuff like run up walls,
Yeah.
leap off, and loose an arrow for style points.
Yeah, that's
You don't
tough.
have to go into first-person mode when manually aiming, and you move much faster while doing so. The strong attack can fire a spread of 3 arrows that can hit multiple enemies at once. And yes, you can now backstab or use a visceral attack on a downed enemy with an arrow.
I might try this
Basically,
class
everything that was
first.
missing from the bow in order to make it a
I don't know,
viable
just some
primary
different
weapon
shit.
in base Elden Ring feels accounted for.
Because normally in Elden Ring, I never used
The
the
Iron
bow.
Eye's main skill
I
is
never
Arc,
used the bow.
which is a very fast
Except for that
dashing
bird.
dagger
That was
attack
really
that
it.
goes through enemies and leaves them with a mark that will add extra damage from all sources. It's got a
But
very
it seems
short
like you
cooldown,
kinda
which
have
means
a
that
bit
you
of
can
both.
basically always have it up on a boss as long as you're being attentive to when the debuff is active. It's also a great mobility tool as it
You
lets
can have a
pass
melee
right through
weapon
enemies
and the
to get
bow,
out of
so
the
it's
bad
like you
spot.
really can still
Iron
do
Eye's
both.
ultimate is single
You know what I'm
shot,
saying?
which as the name implies, is a single powerful shot.
Ooh,
This is basically Mighty Shot on steroids.
I like
It takes a
that.
bit to charge up, but you're fully invulnerable during the animation, and once it's fired, the shot deals big damage and goes through virtually everything straight ahead, making it great
Dom
at taking out
DeMarco.
groups of enemies
Bang,
all at
bang,
once.
bang, bang.
That's nice.
What really makes the Iron Eye shine on a squad, though, is how good they are at reviving allies from a safe distance. You see, the way ally
That's
revival
nice as
works
well.
in Nightreign is that when someone goes down, there's a little partitioned circle that fills up above their character. By attacking your downed ally, you're able to empty that circle little by little, and when it's all emptied, they will return to life. Most classes need to get up close and put themselves at significant risk to try and revive an ally. Or they must expend mana to cast a ranged spell, or maybe even use their ultimate skill. But the Iron Eye can do it safely, from a distance, and without using any resources. That's an extremely valuable thing to have, and it can be the difference maker between a successful and a failed run. The downside is that every time an ally faints, another partition is added to the circle. And while the Iron Eye is great at rezzing allies that have only gone down once or twice, they will struggle to revive an ally that requires all 3 parts of the circle to be cleared, since they just don't have that kind of damage output from far away, unless they use their ultimate just for revival.
Yeah.
While they may not be able to dish out the same kind of damage as some of the other classes, the Iron Eye's presence is always felt on the squad. Between their marking ability that makes everyone hit just a little bit harder,
probably gonna have
to
some
their
classes
passive
that they're not
increases
even,
the amount
like,
of items that everyone finds, to
Won't
their
even
mod
show
clearing
until the
ult,
game fully releases. So
and to their
I'm gonna
unique
take my
ability to
time,
easily and safely
read through
revive people
all
from
of them.
distance, the Iron Eye's
You know what I
utility
mean?
is nearly unmatched among the rest
But
of the Nightfarers.
that's up there. I mean, eventually I try all of them.
For more of our exclusive
You know what I'm saying?
IGN first coverage on Elden Ring Nightreign, don't
I
miss
feel
our
like you have
Night Lord
to.
reveal gameplay, and for everything else in the world of video games, stick.
I feel like you have to figure out what works for you. It's like in any other game that has, you know, specialized characters with abilities and certain weapons that they can use. You got to try everything to see what works best for you. So we definitely going to be on that.